Welcome to Behavioral Health Today, a podcast brought to you by the Triad Network. This podcast is designed to share trending topics occurring within the world and our communities and bring them a behavioral and mental health perspective. Welcome to Behavioral Health Today, a Triad production. I'm the producer, Peter Fenger, and I have the pleasure of welcoming you into today's episode. In our show, we'll resume our conversation with our host, Dr. Erin Elmore, and her guests, Katie Parker, Becky Fife, and Allie Callister, around the topic of developing strong girls and their online program, I Believe in Me. In our last episode, we discussed the challenges facing young girls right now in a post-COVID society and the need for support. I Believe in Me is teaching girls self-awareness and giving them strategies and tools to ultimately control their own happiness. We discussed the I Believe in Me program experience, how girls have access to educational videos, projects to inspire activity, motivational mantras, and providing a healthy online community for girls to connect and share with others. We'll resume our talk today by discussing the impact of how raising strong women with good character can do for our communities and culture at large.
What kids really need is moral intelligence, but you could also think of it as character building. And that's a lot of what has been missing in our academia and our school system, because that came out of the Industrial Revolution and it was all skills based and, knowledge based, but really as the world gets more complex and things get more interactive and social media, our kids need grounding and character and just the ability to make good decisions and to think critically and communicate effectively. And it sounds like that's really what you're fostering here.
Right.
And,
exactly.
I'm thinking on a larger level, and maybe Becky, you want to speak to this. Of course, anyone can jump in, but how would you see that trickle effect if we start raising and helping to support strong women with strong minds, strong hearts, with good character? What could that do for our communities and our cities and our culture at large?
Oh, well, don't get me started, Erin.
I had a feeling you would be the one to answer this.
Well, there's just so much good that can come from women in the home, women in the workforce, women in the community. I feel like as women and as girls, we are born with this innate sense of what needs to be done and how can I help, looking out to serve. And if we can have women in our communities with this character, check-in of okay, how do I feel about this? What can I do to help? That I just feel like we would have stronger communities. We would have better schools. We would have mothers at home happily raising children instead of looking outside their window or at their phones, discontent with what they have. Practicing gratitude on a daily basis of, what, I may not have what my next door neighbor has, but look at what I do have. And I am a woman with gifts to grow and share, and I can go make my home a better place. I can make my community a better place. I can go serve. I can teach my children. The mother forms so many habits in the home, and we're raising tomorrow's mothers with this program. That's why girls, especially at this age in middle school, it's such a pivotal point in their lives. They're only influential for a certain period of time. And then when they get to high school, they're too smart for us. They've already created their habits until they learn differently when they move away and life gets really hard, right?
Yeah.
And then they have to fall back on and maybe call mom or call your grandma or call an aunt to ask advice. So if we can start now with getting these girls to create healthy habits and a healthy mindset, that in 10 years from now, in 20 years, we've created women who know the power that they hold by being a positive force in their community and in their home.
Yes, I love what you said about moral intelligence, and it ties right in with what Allie was sharing. What we call those soil checks, those decision-making moments where there's a moral choice to be made. And so in I Believe in Me, it's one of our main tools is soil checks. And we talked about our soil is our mind and our heart. And so there's two questions that you ask personally. What that girl asked in the movie was, number one, it's about the mind. Does this make sense for me and my age? Is this appropriate? And number two, it's a question about the heart. How does it make me feel? Mm-hmm. And if something's off and they feel that uneasiness, it's okay, I'm out. Your moral compass, your moral intelligence is that soil check. And we're all making them all the time. So you think about one of our main things is growing and sharing. And if we were all making those little self adjustments all day long for the good, following the light and growing ourselves and sharing, the community and the world would be a much happier place, because we're willing to go outside ourselves. So much of society is very selfish. It's kind of a narcissistic view of everyone should care about what I'm doing right now. It's like, no, let's see how we can help others around us by what's inside us. Let's share what's inside us and let's help other people grow. Let's lift others. And yes, it would be a completely different world if we had some of these mindsets in everyone.
Yes. Yeah. And I love the checks you're talking about, because it's reminding me of a lot of the skills we teach in psychology at any age of your mind and your heart need to align. And a lot of people need to learn how to check in with their heart, how to check in with their mind, and how to really make that type of decision where they both are in alignment with each other. And so I'm having flashbacks to being a, teenage girl, and everything is so confusing and everything matters so much. And your heart is just screaming all the time. And so to have that ability to anchor in and ground and really check in with yourself would carry great decisions in the future, or at least eliminate some of the mistakes that we make in the future.
Totally.
And that's really empowering. And honestly, it's an adult skill that they can learn at any age. So I love that that's part of your program.
If they can learn it while they're young, like in a bite-sized piece of like, okay, I'm going to not watch that movie, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to maybe be friends with that person because they don't make the greatest of decisions, then they don't have to learn the mind and heart checking in when they're having to go in for therapy, because they've already made all the bad decisions. Like, it would just save so much heartache and sorrow and sadness if we can teach them just how to do it on a smaller scale. So when they get to high school, when they get to college on a bigger scale, they can be like, okay, these two aren't aligning. Something's off. I need to pause. I need to reevaluate life and dismiss myself from whatever situation they might be in. If life would just be so much easier if we could.
I'll do soil checks.
Yes.
I'm relearning it all the time and having it constantly in my mind. Even as a mom, I'm still a woman. I still have friend issues, and I have drama, and I have, there's always things going on, even as a 40-year-old woman, that I'm having to constantly like, okay, where are my mind and my heart? So I'm hoping and trying to teach my kids that at a younger age. When they get to be my age, they can be masters of it. Do we
That's
ever
true.
get to be masters of it? I hope.
Well, we don't have to be perfect, but I totally agree with what you're saying. All the worst decisions I've ever made, one of those was out of alignment, and I either didn't know yet how to anchor into that, or I was ignoring it for some reason. So it is a really, really great skill. I'm sure one of the many skills you teach, but that one stuck out to me because it's very, very helpful, even from a therapist or psychologist perspective, that can carry people really well in a lot of completely different circumstances. So I'm wondering, maybe Katie can speak to this one. What would you say to parents or maybe guardians who are raising their own tween or young person right now? Is there anything you'd want to leave our listeners with?
Oh, that we believe in you as parents. I mean, and we're here to back you up. That's what I believe in me as. We're backup for parents. We're telling them and teaching them all the things we believe a parent would want to, but like you said, from a different source. But parents are the magic of the future. And I think it's hard. I think even our parents are lacking confidence right now. And I think, just as we talked about soil checks for the girls, and within, like Allie said, if you're parenting and you're feeling in your home right now, something's off. It's not making sense. Your heart's hurting because of the way you're talking to each other in your home. Like, you have the power as a parent, as a mother, to change that almost in an instant. Like, to be able, the power of saying, I'm sorry. Oops, you know what? I handled the situation wrong. I'm so sorry. Let's reset. Let's push the reset button and let's try again. This just happened last week. I'm noticing my daughter, she's 14, and she was just grumpier. And I realized there was a correlation. She had been out with her friends for a significant amount of time, 5 hours plus, 2 nights in a row. And I remember this happening in my older daughter and going, you know what? There's a pattern. The more time too long with her friends, she tends to get grumpier with the family. And I'm not going to take that away from her, but we definitely had a discussion. Hey, Sadie, did you notice like you're kind of being grumpy at everyone today kind of for no reason, like nothing's happened. And I think it's because you've been away from us for really extended periods of time. And now you're back with us all day today. And it's almost like you can't. And it was enlightening because I don't think she understood how she was being. And she was humble enough about it because I wasn't mad. I didn't get mad at her or get on her. But as that was a soil check for me as a parent of the feeling of our home. Like, oh, wait, okay, something is off. Like, why is Sadie, and trying to put the dots together. So I would say, you asked me, what would I tell parents? Believe in the power you hold as a parent of your family. And just like these girls have their garden of life, every family is a garden. And as a parent, you control as best you can, especially when they're younger, what comes in and what goes out, what shows are on TV. If that show isn't bringing enlightening and building and lifting your family, be courageous enough to be like, you know what, guys, we're not going to watch this one anymore. Let's replace it with something else. And to have that courage as a parent, don't be afraid to be bold in your parenting, not overbearing or angry or through force, not at all. Just be bold in what you're willing to talk about and bring up and discuss and connect the dots in your own children's minds of patterns of behavior and the feeling in your home. You've got it. You parents, you are the hope for our future. When I read the word hopelessness and that's growing, I think the antidote to hopelessness is bold parenting, loving your kids enough to set parameters in a loving but persistent way.
Being the gatekeeper of your home.
Yes.
We'll be right back after word from our sponsor.
Are you preparing for a licensure exam in psychology, social work, marriage and family therapy, counseling, or behavioral analysis? AATBS is here to help. We have been supporting behavioral and mental health students to prepare for their licensure exams for more than 45 years, working with over 1 million students to succeed on test day and move on to the next step in their career. With products ranging from comprehensive courses to quiz banks and delivered live online, self-study online, and in print, AATBS has test prep solutions that meet every student's needs and learning styles. Visit us today at aatbs.com. That's aatbs.com and use promo code BHT15 to save 15% off your next purchase.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
I love everything you said and the way you articulated it. Just thinking from the, child family psychologist perspective too. That's a lot of what I would encourage families to do. And I would also kind of add to the parents, like, this is really an age where they may seem like they're not taking in what you're saying, but they actually do still. And if you do need someone else to be a support system, whether it's a therapist or this program, very normal. It's just developmentally, they need to hear things from other adults or other mentors. And so I love that this is the age range you guys are targeting, because it was very common that parents, I would say something in a session and they'd be like, we've been telling her this for 6 months and she listens to you the first time. I'm like, I know it's nothing personal. It's just
Always
because
the
you're the
way.
mom,
Yeah.
So I just want to maybe add that in there, that this could be an amazing resource to supplement you as the gatekeeper of your home and to give them something else to pour into them that is positive and is going to build their character. Becky, did you want to add something?
Yes, I was just going to also say to parents and caregivers that even the smallest seed can grow into a mighty tree. And so if they're feeling discouraged or if they're feeling overwhelmed as a parent and in their home, just to encourage them that just on a daily basis, just to do one small thing to help change the soil of their home will actually make a huge difference, even years from now. I love the story of the Chinese bamboo tree, which is you plant a seed and nothing happens for 4 years. And you think, oh my gosh, it's a failed seed, it's not going to grow. And then little do you know, it's just creating a root system underneath the ground. You just can't see it. And then this huge, beautiful tree shoots up 4 years later, after all of this hard work, and you finally see, oh, it was worth the efforts. It was worth being that bold parent that Katie's talking about. It was worth showing that love, using my patience on a daily basis to reach out to my child. That even that the power that lies within a seed is a great analogy for all of us, that the smallest thing on a daily basis, break it down to the day, can make a big difference overall.
Absolutely. So if somebody was interested in enrolling in I Believe in Me, where would they go? And or do you have other resources if people are interested in learning more about Bloomfully, where they could go?
I think that's the easiest place to go is bloomfully.com.
Okay.
And then you'll see the I Believe in Me link right there. That's for that age group. There's a couple others, but for what we talked about today, yep, just go to bloomfully.com, a place where girls grow.
And we'll include that in the show notes, definitely. So, I feel like we could keep talking about this for a while, but as we start to wrap up, I think what I'm struck with is a couple of things. One is it's so refreshing to hear of a community where women are supporting each other and training young girls how to be supportive as well, because there's just so much competition and it's a tough world to be a girl in right now and a woman in right now. So I love that this is breeding positive relationships, women to women. And then also we know from research, it's interesting, but men don't really need other men the same way that women need other women. So women's satisfaction in life is actually largely dependent, not so much on their spouse or their children, although that is definitely a factor. It's really also based on their relationship with other women, which is so interesting. And so it's really vital to our happiness. You keep talking about happiness, to be connected in a positive way with other women. So I love that this is fostering that and giving that to young girls and training them how to be a good friend and how to be a good partner and how to be a good mom, because that is really something I think women need to feel fulfilled, among other things. But I just love that this is a platform for that in a world where I think we really need it right now. So
we do.
Yeah.
And we're all in this together. That's what it comes like. We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a sense of camaraderie just being a woman, which is interesting. So yeah, I love the work you're doing. I love that it's accessible to people online and it's relevant. And I actually really like that you don't really get kicked out of the program. If you want to stay and you make a friend, you can carry that on.
We're here forever.
Yeah, I think that's really special. So thank you all so much for taking the time and sharing what you've done and this program. I think it's going to really be interesting and relevant to a lot of our listeners.
We hope so. We just want to be part of the solution. We just want to help.
I think you probably already are.
Yeah. Thanks, Erin.
Yeah, thank you
so much, Erin.
And I want to thank our listeners also for taking the time to join us today. Just a reminder that the resources for this episode and an archive of all of our other episodes can be found on our webpage at triadhq.com/BHT. And we look forward to having you back with us next time on Behavioral Health Today.
We appreciate all the support from our community, and if you like our show, one of the best ways you can support it is by giving us a 5-star rating and leaving a review. Behavioral Health Today is a podcast part of the Tribe Network, all rights reserved.